morning and welcome. It's We Are live from St. Louis Grand Center in the Midcoast studio. Check out midcoast.media for more information. I am Chris Denman, excited to be here. We've got Make It Races today, the Great American Race. Gyrating to my left is the intern. His name is Tommy Mosslander III.
How's it going?
We'll get to your fair or foul, everything else. First, let's say hi to Travis Sherrill in Brooklyn, New York. Good morning, Travis.
Namaste.
What's up with that? Namaste in bed. He's live from a random bodega in Brooklyn, New York. Travis, what's up, man? Why are you namasteing?
It's what we do. We get up in the mornings here in New York. We all have yoga classes on top of our rooftops in Brooklyn. And then we greet the world with peace. Namaste.
What's your favorite yoga pose?
Great question.
The 360 Jordan Slam.
Not a thing. Giggling.
You do a lot of yoga, do you, Demon?
I could name 3 poses, and I'm happy that you pumped the brakes on that. I was hoping you would say like baby dog or something like that, right?
I don't.
Sun spiral kitty cat. It's like I was hoping you'd have a little more of a thing, but you went NBA Jam on it. I'm okay with that.
I don't do yoga, but I'm not going to pretend like I do on a live podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a great point. Sociology.
Oh, just tell us more truths about stealing from your grandmother and
Hey, you know what? Leave me alone.
those kind of endearing stories to the public. Tell us about that.
Last night I watched the Blues with my grandpa. We had a jolly good time while we were packing up my grandma's dishes.
This is terrible. Starting off the day right is what I'll say. We've already got comments. Damn, right off the bat, zing from Matt. You guys, if you're tuning in, be sure to hit that share button. Or you don't love us. How about that? How about that for boundaries and personal space? Tech Electronics makes this studio possible. These mics, this camera, Travis's connection, all the amazing stuff we get to use thanks to Tech Electronics. Thank you, Vanna. I appreciate that. We've got Tommy showing off everything. Joining us in studio, the curator of streams, the agitator of the general public, Christopher Millhouse Gardner. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen in St. Louis. Good morning,
Elitist.
my fellow in Brooklyn.
Nice.
And good morning, Walnut.
Throw 'em up. What?
Come on, Chris.
Huh?
Don't be
Come
a
on, Chris.
buddy boo.
Wait.
Yeah,
I
don't
got a
be
new
what
way to
he
do
just
it.
said.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
don't change it up.
Oh,
on
here
me.
we go.
There.
Oh,
Oh, there we go.
We're flying.
Okay.
We're
I don't
flying.
know. Sorry, my arms are just so skinny I can barely lift them anymore. You know how that goes, Trav.
It's from a lack of sugar.
If I can bring mine up, you can bring yours up.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Tommy let me know he was cutting down on the booze, which is smart. But he also said he's also cutting out sugar as he buried his paw into a bag of donuts and cracked open a Gatorade that contains no less than 30 grams of sugar in each serving. Tommy, not that you like being the center of attention, nor do you feel like you deserve it.
Yeah,
I know
no, I
you're a
don't like
humble
this at all.
guy. I
I'm
know you're a humble
very
guy.
humble.
I feel like you do these contradictory things so you can lead off the show. I can't let it go, and you know
No,
how
like,
it's like a sound I hear in the background. I gotta hone in on it. Travis, you've left your ways here, and he's
So-
taken over your diet.
Orange drinking donuts.
What
right.
what I meant by like I'm cutting back on all that stuff is like I quit eating fast food, which was a really big problem for me. I would eat it 3 or 4 times a day, just because that was the quickest thing to eat. But
This is fast. Would you say?
it's pretty quick unless you're in a McDonald's drive-through, and then it's like it's just food. But like
Right.
I would just buy it, and then that would be all I ate in a day is fast food. But I've been going home and cooking more, cooking a lot more fish. It's got heavy protein, maybe bulk up a little. But this morning I
like
grabbed
that.
some donuts because I was hungry.
It's okay, man.
had a
You ain't.
banana.
You first of all, Tommy, don't feel like you ever have to prove anything in regards to your diet to anyone that's currently in that studio.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
All
he
right.
stated directly he wouldn't be ingesting exactly what he was ingesting. So as a
Well,
human,
you stated
well, I
directly
took
that
note.
you was going to be able to dunk by 2
The
summers
problem
ago.
is when you use that as an example, you can't talk about it. You know how I can't talk about being black because I've never done it? Bitch, you've never dunked. Stop trying to bring it up, bro. It ain't your
Well, you're the
thing,
one
man.
who brought it up
Stay in my lane.
unsolicited. You're the one who always tells everybody, "Hey, man, back in the day, I used to be that guy that went against Ben Hansborough, and I blocked his shot. And at the Farmington Civic
No,
Center,
I
we
don't know.
took on the cops
Travis, you're
from,
waking up salty,
Anthony
man.
Bonner."
You're waking up salty. I don't know what's going on. Is that fridge behind you empty? Are you out of food? What's going on?
I ain't salty. I'm just saying, like, I am very happy that Tommy is taking control of his diet and
But
his
he's not.
life.
I've been
And we
going to
should
the.
be encouraging
I've-
him.
Encouraging. If you say, I'm done killing hookers, and then you snap a hooker's neck in front of me, I'm not going to believe you.
That's a little bit of an extreme.
No, I think that's
That's
your
a-
other thing you were
Guys,
telling me about.
That's a specific example he just gave.
And then a
Do
weird
you-
twist.
Do
A
you-
weird twist as well.
That's
right?
just admitting a crime, possibly.
Yeah,
Do you
that could
hurt
be.
sex workers?
Listen, it's not legal in Missouri, and they need to take their wares elsewhere. On the show today, we'll have Fair or Foul. Great topic. Spurned by Travis. Travis
Maybe
is
that should be
turned
our. Maybe that should be the melee today. Does
Murdering
Chris kill sex workers? Yes.
If I tried
or no.
If I tried to be a serial killer, I'd get my ass kicked by a really strong sex worker. It'd be really embarrassing. I'd show up with a disfigured nose. And like, what happened? Like, well, tried to start my serial killing. Didn't go so well.
I've been going to the gym. That's been cool.
Jim who?
Good for you,
Like who?
Tommy.
A guy named Jim's house?
No, like.
See, look at that. See, that's what I'm
like-
talking about. That's some hater shit right there, man.
Thank you, man.
Support your fellow
drinking,
intern, man.
He's drinking nectar of sugar.
Yeah,
As
you know,
he's saying he's not drinking
I
sugar.
go to the gym. I need something to back up.
I
need
got
those
you.
electrolytes.
Burning that glucose.
I
I get it.
I have a home
I'll
gym
stand
now.
down. Do you?
Yeah.
Bowflex?
No.
Did you steal that from your grandma? Did she think that it's
Look,
in a different room? Does she think it's in a
You
different
stealing
room?
A little
Bowflexes
bit.
from your mama?
That's
Oh,
what's going
God.
I got a little
Tommy.
weight bench with a bunch of like 8-pound weights.
You got a little Tommy bench?
Yeah.
Can we get some video of this?
I mean,
Actually,
I'll send you.
we should make a Tommy workout video.
I'll send you a pic of me
Oh,
pumping
gosh.
iron.
Yeah, do that and explain to us what you're. We'll do it like
Yeah.
a workout video. Put
An
like a
instructional.
headband on or something.
I tried starting with like a 20-pound
Tommy.
weight and can't do that.
Tommy,
fine.
don't do that. Don't
No,
do
nobody's
it,
gonna
Tommy.
shame
Back
you
out
on
of this
weights.
quick.
Travis,
Tommy,
Travis
back out
is,
immediately. Don't do it.
I'm out.
Travis is speaking from
Okay.
experience, it seems.
No, I don't want. I want Tommy to go at his pace. I want him to actually get
fine.
healthier, and I know that Chris will turn this into something incredibly competitive and drive Tommy up the wall, and he'll end up breaking his own back.
He'll find a
and
way to
we'll have an
monetize
intern
it.
for the
So
summer.
when? Oh yeah, absolutely.
Tommy,
When
yeah,
did-
you do you. Just,
when-
it's about you getting healthy. No one else. Doesn't matter.
Hey, Chris, do you want to get healthy with me?
No,
trying,
don't
I'm
do
trying,
that.
buddy.
Don't invite
Well, I could,
Chris
like,
into
I
it.
could,
Don't.
I
Hold
could
on.
send over weight to you.
Well, Travis, what I need to do is I need to gain weight and he needs to lose weight, so
Right.
we could work together.
Classic buddy comedy scenario. Thanks, Trav. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's yeah. You guys can make
Everybody-
that work. I'm sure.
We could just say that we're. It's my lesbian friend, Tommy, and
Hey,
and there's our
hey,
diversity.
hey.
There's our diversity.
I don't look like a lesbian anymore.
You could play.
I
You
could.
could
I
play.
probably could. You're
Yeah,
right.
you can
Chris-
give an experience.
When was the last time you did some cardio?
Who?
Me?
You,
Tommy or me?
both of you guys.
Yesterday.
Yeah,
What'd you do? What'd you both do?
What does cardio count as?
2
What is
miles in
cardio?
Tower Grove Park. 1 running.
What does cardio count as?
You did a mile running?
Go F yourself, pal. What have you done in the last 5 months? I saved Rushmore.
Ooh. Look at Chris Dickman.
He's walked all over New York.
Not really. Just from
That's
wherever he
true.
works to
That's
wherever
true.
they sell hot Cheetos.
That's all right.
Doritos?
Some hater shit, man. What's gotten into you? When did you
Spicy
become such a
nacho
hater,
Dorito
man?
Cheeto
There's
thing.
no haters. I'm just mad.
You used to be a cheerleader, but now here you are just a hater. Is that what happens when you get older?
You're older than me.
The birthday's
older.
coming up, and here you are. Just
I'm a
being
ways
hater.
away. I'm a ways away, man. You are so
He's-
much older than me.
You can't see it from here, but he's got a bald spot growing in the back.
So-
It's
Oh,
terrible.
man. Is there? Is there one? Doesn't feel like it. How are we looking?
Chris, come on over.
I was joking.
Come on
with the
over,
guy to this
Chris.
one.
That's a cowlick. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. Yeah. I don't think I'm quite there yet. We'll get to it. Fair or
Encourage
foul
Tommy.
today.
It's important that we encourage Tommy.
St. Louis is just a baseball town. That is your topic. St. Louis is just a baseball town. inspired by Travis Terrell's needling of his Twitter feed, our listeners, everyone else over the last few days. We did have another person one off me, my guy Steve again. He's an out-of-towner. He loves Travis's analysis, but feels you don't always deliver in the most effective manner. But the thought, he loved
Because I don't
the
yell
thought.
like Stephen A. or probably.
You do
I
yell.
need to get more Stephen A. a little bit.
People believe you more when you do that. For your prize, we'll do $10 to Southtown Pub. You can use that tonight. We've got a huge comedy show. Our friend TK Kelly writes for Tosh.0. Travis, you can give him some pointers when he's on the show in the next few days. He's part of All Things Comedy. He's headlining tonight. The great Nathan Orton. Our friend Kendra Jones will be on the show. Meredith Hopping, a young woman by the name of Sue Ra coming in from New York City is on there as well. And the great Steve Pace. So it's going to be a very fun show tonight. 8 o'clock, Southtown Pub is doors. We'll probably get going 8:15 or so. Karaoke after. Join us tonight at Southtown Pub, everybody.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to sing karaoke.
You're going to show up late? You got to show up Funny Bone tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to come after my show. I'm going to do some karaoke. I'm going to do all of the Talking Heads Stop Making Sense.
Oh, the entire, okay.
Yeah, all of those songs.
All right, so we can do that. So your prize today for Fair or Foul, $10 to a St. Louis establishment, Southtown Pub. Travis, are you proud of yourself for inspiring today's Fair or Foul?
Absolutely. I'm glad I struck a chord with St. Louisans, because when St. Louisans needed to explain what else St. Louis is, no one could come up with an answer. So I think that's good. I think now that the city knows that they're... What was your answer again, Tommy?
Medical and schooling.
Medical and schooling.
Education and healthcare.
Education and healthcare. So considering that was the fallback in which the city fell on, according to Tommy, education and medical, I think, again, it illustrates my point that St. Louis is indeed just a baseball town.
Gardner?
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Aviation is another one.
That's a
also,
good point.
also,
Boeing, isn't Boeing here still?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's another example.
Just because they're not entertainment things, Travis. If you want to
No,
know,
I'm not saying they have to be entertainment things.
All right, but I
They
mean,
don't have
those
to
are
be entertainment things
significant,
at all.
and those are way more significant to the economic structure of St. Louis than anything the Cardinals do. It's not even close. And Forest Park is much more of a dominant force in terms of economics for St. Louis. Than
How many people go to the zoo every summer?
Well, here's what I looked at.
I go to the zoo.
I looked at, I believe it was the St. Louis
be a
Regional
crazy
Chamber that puts out projections each year for direct impact and indirect impact economically from different divisions or
X,
whatever
Y,
it might
and Z.
be. For the Cardinals, I believe last year they had projected of direct economic impact just over $160 million for the city.
That's not,
And then-
that's not enough for New York.
But
They
then
wouldn't take that.
let's take in indirect too, like hotels and stuff like that. Then it became over $330 million
From the Cardinals?
from the Cardinals.
Ugh.
Now you look at Forest Park, and I believe they classify it as like the zoological and museum district is how they explain it, Travis. At least that's how they kind of group it. Forest Park direct money is over $530 million. I couldn't find indirect with that one.
From a park system.
Yeah, from Forest Park alone. And it's over 12 million visitors to Forest Park each year.
Holy sheesh.
So, I mean, it just depends on how you classify. I know what Travis is trying to say, because it's not necessarily about money, and I'm making that example right now. It's how you view yourself and your perspective. So that's different.
But that does play a role in it. It
Yeah,
does play a role in it, certainly.
Yeah, it's just, but I think my thing is like when you say take away something that's, we know baseball is a major part of the identity of St. Louis and how we view ourselves. Sports in general, actually, which is why the Rams thing was such a big deal, because St. Louis considers itself a sports town. That's how they view themselves.
Right.
But it's hard to kind of project what you're saying there, like when you say take away baseball, because to me that's kind of like, all right, what is Venice, Italy without canals? I don't know. I don't know. Just because that's an identity, or at least what my perspective is of a place like that. What is Omaha without steaks? You know, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have the knowledge to be able to dive into it. So that's my thing. I think the frustration with
Or mutual
trying to
funds,
debate it
right?
with you is just that there's no way to predict.
It's a way to.
It's just something organically normally happens,
Right.
and then your identity changes. That's happened to St. Louis
If
over its history.
and I think right, I think you're exactly right. I think if people's response to the Rams leaving would have been, turning to say the gem of St. Louis, like Forest Park, and saying, "No, we're more than just the baseball town."
Yeah.
The thing is, when people reacted to the statement, "We're more than just a baseball town," they didn't highlight the education, they didn't highlight the hospitals, they didn't highlight Forest Park. They waited until the St. Louis Blues made the Stanley Cup Finals and illustrated that they were more than just a baseball town.
Yeah.
So it shows that St. Louisans are indeed attached to sports.
Well,
in this
when
case, baseball, in describing whether or not they're more than just a baseball town.
Yeah.
When you follow Cardinals fans that are also Blues fans, and that's a majority of your Twitter followers, that's of course a perspective you're going to get. But what about how many millions of dollars have been spent on branding and marketing? Sterling K. Brown ain't coming back to do those commercials highlighting the symphony for free, kids. Like they do.
You're right,
highlight,
but
like,
every time there's a marketing campaign centered around St. Louis, guess who finds itself into the picture?
Right.
One of
Busch
the
Stadium and the
Cardinals.
St. Louis Cardinals. So I'm saying is we can try to run from it. We can bring in as many Sterling K. Browns and John Goodmans as we want, but every time we do something that is talking about the identity of St. Louis, the St. Louis Cardinals still find its way to the forefront of that conversation.
I would just say that if someone were to argue with you and not bring up like Forest Park and other things like that, like if someone else is doing this, then they're, to me, missing out on a big part of St. Louis.
Certainly.
Because it's obviously not in the front of their mind at that point then. I was in Forest Park yesterday, wandering around. Went over the nice Victorian bridge they have in the kind of northeast corner there.
He was looking for a way to get to the sewer.
Actually, I think I found the second entrance to the river to Paradise.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's just, my girlfriend went with me this time. We were lifting sewer lids in Forest Park yesterday.
This does not end on what planet does this end with you, meeting some oracle that says, "I've been waiting for you."
I don't know.
Like this ends with you tripping, getting a gash in your calf muscle,
ends
and then you go septic before anybody can find
Chris
you.
Gardner, king of the sewer people.
a dream realized.
It's been my fate all along.
You act like finding an interest to the river to Paris, like getting into the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
It's like
No, what you find is more poop. Like that's
Yeah.
what
Oh,
it's
it's
there.
stormwater.
Again,
what is your
Urine.
obsession? I'm curious.
I'm just fascinated by the engineering feat that was put on by this city back in the day.
But don't you think there's a reason it's covered up?
Yeah, because
why don't you go on a brewery tour? Like there's some engineering.
Oh, there
going
you
on
go. Hey,
Uh-huh.
Travis, what do you think of that?
Oh, you
Let's
think
send the
I
alcoholic
see
on a
ya.
brewery
Oh,
tour.
I
I'm
see
sorry.
ya.
And your little canals down there in the cave.
Insensitive.
You
I
don't-
am outraged.
You don't think there's half-drink bottles of Ripple down there, pal? Yeah, I know what you're
No,
looking for.
What
down
if there's
there.
a monster?
I know
There
what
is
you're looking
not.
for down there.
What if there's a monster?
there
Tell me,
is?
I don't know how to
the
answer
monster.
that.
The
No,
monster.
answer
don't know.
honestly.
The monster was
I
in his
just
heart
said,
all
I don't,
along.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
There could be a monster. It could eat you. I don't want to see you get eaten. All right. Could be where like
I don't want to see you getting eaten by the alcoholic monster.
Yeah.
Chris Denman.
Ooh,
it could be where
Good
the
job, Travis.
St. Louis vampires live, for all we know.
could be.
That's a roller hockey team in Carondelet.
Is it really?
No,
All right.
Could be.
should be.
I announced a roller derby competition once.
Of course you
on
did.
an old radio
Oh,
station.
yeah.
How'd it go?
Ooh.
Had to go over to the east side, and it was like women's roller
Oh,
derby.
all right. So it wasn't like.
Good
remember-
time.
I remember
It
the
wasn't
guy
sanctioned.
the guy who was the promoter had a prosthetic leg and was very flamboyant.
Okay. Did he?
Of course
I
he
know
skate.
a guy like that.
No,
Did he skate?
How long
Of course
ago
he
was
does.
this?
this is probably
Oh,
about
God.
7 years ago.
We'll talk about. I think I know that guy.
Okay, we'll talk.
Tell
We'll
us
talk
more of
after
your
the show.
hillbilly stories, hillbillies.
What are you doing this
Hey.
weekend, Mr. Mr. Posh?
Hey,
Yeah. Hey, Cosmopolitan. What do you have on tap? Huh?
if we're all such hillbillies, why do you care whether our town's a baseball town or not?
Because I'm from there.
Yeah, but you don't act like it anymore, right? Who's your big
Oh, what
New
do you
York
mean? What
boy?
what is what? How do I have to act to be from St. Louis, Tommy? Do I need to put
No,
on more cardinal fitted hats? Do I need to do more Nelly lyrics for you
nah,
while
just quit
eating
talking
toasted
down.
raviolis? What will make you more comfortable?
Yes, all of those things.
Did you guys catch Sterling K on the last Lonely Island special?
No, I haven't gotten
Jamie
to
Moyer's
watch
Fancy
that
Foyer.
yet. I want to
I
watch
haven't
it. I
had a
haven't
chance to
got
watch
to.
it either.
Is that the Jose Canseco thing?
I've heard mixed
yeah.
reviews,
I haven't
so I
seen that.
haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard mixed
It just came
reviews, so
out
I
a
haven't
few
sat
days
down and.
ago.
What about this?
The concept looks very interesting. It
Yeah.
looks pretty funny, so I have to check it out.
Another question, or I guess statement, Travis. Good luck battling this one. I saw on my uncle's T-shirt, St. Louis is a drinking town with a baseball problem. What do you have to say now? Take a seat, huh? That's right.
That's kind of That's it. That's basically it.
Now, based on that T-shirt, I'm going to sue the city of St. Louis for turning me into now a recovering alcoholic. So,
Yeah.
You
Get
can. I like
yeah.
that.
What do you think? You know, why are you bringing this lawsuit? Well, T-shirt told me. I mean, this
true.
is how you sell yourself, St. Louis. Look what you did to me. Give me those 15 years back.
Oh my. We
Hey,
had
you
a
guys see my really cool Michael Bay effect today on my camera? Look, it's like Starburst, but it's like a Transformer movie.
Oh, no, it's like Island. The Island. Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, see? How cool is that? Yeah, you guys didn't know I was going to bring special effects to the show. What?
Wow, a kitchen light.
Oh, I think he's frozen. We had a poll yesterday,
We
and
did.
Watch your mouth.
it came down to the wire. I mean, this is a tough one. Gardner, this is near and dear to your heart. Do you want to hit us with the results from @WeAreLiveRadio on Twitter?
The melee. We were discussing, we touched on briefly a number of, or one UFO story, one alien story, and asked the question, when dwelling on the universe, which of these is scarier to think? We're not alone, or we're all alone? It's 52% to 48%.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't think we'd be this divided, huh?
52% we're all alone. Wow. I agree.
50.
You don't think anything's popping around, huh? Oh, that's
No,
scarier.
that's
My
scarier
mistake.
to
Yep.
think, yeah,
Scary to think, yeah.
that we're all alone.
Hey, one life, live it, baby.
YOLO?
I think it would
Yeah.
be. Oh,
That's what I tattooed
so
on
the
my
48% is we're not alone.
Yes.
That would be
that's
scarier.
Scarier to think.
I guess it would be scarier if we weren't alone. I honestly think that because you know that means we have no chance.
Yeah.
And we're not ever
How do
gonna
you
get.
know that?
We're never gonna get into
That
the
sounds
Galactic
that
Senate.
sounds just exactly like what white men would
I'm
say.
sorry.
You don't even know what they can do and how they can help us as a society, but you're already afraid because you don't know what it is and you don't understand it. Tell us more how that hasn't affected society over the last 5.5, 6 centuries.
Oh,
Go ahead, Tommy.
Tommy.
Tommy just had a query, and
We
he seemed
glossed
quite
over
troubled.
something.
He seemed quite troubled.
Tommy, what was the issue you have with nothing
Look,
being out there?
I mentioned the Galactic Senate.
You said we're
No,
not going to
he
get
said
into the
you,
Galactic
you were,
Senate.
You sounded like your mom just told you Disney World's canceled because you got bad grades, and you said, then we won't be able to get into the Galactic Senate, as if it was a troubling statement that you had to begrudgingly say out there. Tommy Moss,
He's right,
everybody.
though. He's right.
He is right, and I have to say, I never looked at it that way before.
So
But
we're North Korea
I've got a
of
new
the universe.
Yeah,
Right now,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys see
Maybe
that South Park?
maybe Earth has sanctions against it.
Yeah.
And maybe we just don't realize. Maybe our behavior of late is why other species and other galaxies haven't come forward to let them know that
Yeah.
they exist because they've been watching our behavior and they're like, I don't like that.
I agree.
Well, you know, that's the
if
main-
if the youth would stop blaring rap music and pull up their pants, maybe we'd get a visit from a respectable alien troop, huh?
It's interesting he says that because a lot of UFOologists believe, and people who believe in the aliens, they
Oh,
think
he's getting fired up.
one of the reasons.
Keep going, baby.
Like we first started having like the big outburst of
no.
UFO sightings in the 50s, late 40s because of the tests they were doing in Nevada with the bombs and stuff, right? And so a lot of people think that the aliens came to visit us then to watch our tests and stuff. And then they've just kind of watched our progress and that we're not ready.
Yeah,
they don't think we are ready.
We're a reality show for them.
They're watching our progress.
The moon's a satellite. They're watching us as a reality
All right, I
show.
got to tap out of this.
Ball
Seth, in the
How you
comments.
gonna tap out? He just speaking the truth.
I'm not ending up on the same list as you turds.
I'm not on a list.
You
yet.
don't get to make that decision, Chris.
Yeah, I'm
Man.
black. I'm on a bunch of lists.
Yeah. Even the Blacklist with James Spader on
Yeah.
NBC this fall.
It's good. It's a good show. It's a good show.
Seth says, watch an episode of Maury and think to yourselves that we're the most advanced species out there. The great Jamie Moyer's Fancy Foyer says,
You are not.
Chris looks like a guy that would be on that show.
What if we put Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader on Maury, and then they do the paternity test, and he is not the father, and then it just blows the whole storyline out of the water.
right, yeah. Darth Vader's sea walking around the room.
But
so
I thought, who are you sleeping with? Who else was there?
Jar Jar
It's like,
Binks.
And the,
Darth
then the
Vader's
bounty
best friend
hunter
walks
comes
out.
from the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
how it
Jar
works.
Binks, guys.
How do you guys feel about
C-3PO.
this? Are we the Indians and they're Christopher Columbus? Not good. Hashtag space whites.
Well, yeah.
Well,
No, it's not quite that because I believe we have a creator. It's just another species.
yeah, like we're the experiment.
Look what we do
Maybe.
to other animals and stuff.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Look
imagine,
what we do to
Yeah,
killer
and we
whales
ain't-
and dolphins.
yeah.
Look what they
we
do to
ain't going.
cows.
Look, I'll tell you right now, we ain't going back to slaves. We will snitch, but my community, we are not going back to this slavery thing.
No, I
so we
understand.
will. We're going to throw a lot of people under the bus to really avoid
Travis?
that. We've done our time, and
What about?
I'm sorry, I will sell y'all out.
That's
I
part
love
of
y'all, but I will
that would
sell
be
y'all
part
out.
of
I can't do that.
reparations.
Yeah. What
Yeah, that's
about
true.
if they had an earnest talk with you and they're like, Mr. Terrell, we've done some, we've ran the numbers. You've consumed intelligent species at just a terrible rate your entire life. They value pigs because they're as intelligent, more intelligent as dogs in many senses of the way. Do you give up pig consumption to form an alliance with the aliens, or do you say, stay off, we're going to battle? This is a real question.
I think I would have to weigh the other technology they're bringing to the table. So
Right,
if they
you got something
can
to
help,
replace this delicious,
like if they can
smart
help,
animal.
right? If they can help me with like my jump shot, if they can like give me a couple abs, like I would consider
Personally
giving
help
the pig
you,
up.
not humanity.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Right. Well,
That's
if
all I
he helps
needed.
me grow back my hairline,
Ooh.
things like that,
No, I
I would
don't-
strongly
You're
just
consider giving up pork.
You're just out pointing out all the hiding places, like over there, as you run your fingers through your.
Look at that
your cloth.
microbrewery. They go over there. They're probably under there.
Some people think that the aliens aren't actually from space, but they're underground,
Oh wow!
like in Journey to the Center of the Earth type thing.
Is that why you're
Like-
trying to keep
Okay.
me out of the river to bear
Underground
tunnels?
caverns, maybe.
I've been to Merrimack Caverns. My dad was in an amateur bodybuilding competition there called
Yeah,
the Caveman.
He's not going to grease
competition.
himself down.
I went to a cave that was supposed to be haunted in Missouri.
Which one?
I don't remember, but I got a picture of a ghost there.
I'm sure you
No,
did.
stop
No, I really
lying.
did.
How are you bringing this up just now?
I showed you that picture the day
No.
we met. Yes,
Did
I
you?
did. Yeah, the day we met. Because the day I met Gardner, it was my interview with Denman, and then I went outside
Oh,
and I met
God.
him.
Interview.
And they talked about ghosts. We talked about ghosts for like 25 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And so I know I brought up the
Oh,
picture
maybe I
of the
don't.
ghost.
Okay, well, we'll revisit this.
How did this interview go? Did Chris just need somebody for lunch and he just started asking you random questions that had nothing to do with the job?
I sat in this chair, and he sat right there, and he was like, "Hey, what do you think you can bring to the table?" And I go, "I think I can bring a lot to the table. I'm very professional in the
Is how it
business
went.
side. I work really hard. I'll do whatever you guys need to
And then
get
he
done."
kept going. Wink.
No, I didn't do
Wink,
that at
he was
all.
doing
I
that.
waited until later to do that. But now I'm here, baby.
Oh boy.
So
He is here, and he's here because of great businesses like Gateway Powder Coating. Everybody, they just posted a bunch of photos that we shared to our Facebook page. Gateway Powder Coating, fast, durable, affordable. If you're looking for maybe a metal decorations you want to hang up in your garage, they're making us a big metal sculpture. that's going to have the We Are Live logo that's going to hang up in our studio. If you have metal and it needs touched up, you take it to Gateway Powder Coating. Check out gatewaypowdercoat.com for more information. Big shout out to Mark and the fellas who are big Blues supporters out west of here. Travis Terrell, good morning.
Speaking of,
hello.
How about those St. Louis Blues, huh?
That's pretty crazy. I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie. I passed out, woke back up, and I saw that I missed one of the most exciting moments in sports history.
Yes,
as
you did.
You were asleep? You were asleep?
As our, not your, St. Louis Blues win 3-2 in overtime with just the most exciting type of win in sports.
And you were asleep.
Yeah.
With the shootout happening. What are you talking about, man? How did you fall asleep during the Stanley Cup Finals, Chris?
Look at him.
It happens. I'm a sleepy little bear.
Hey.
It's the Stanley Cup Finals. The Blues haven't been here in 49 years, and you trying to sneak in a catnap?
Seems like it worked out. Can't argue with that. Don't argue the results, pal.
Yes.
The Blues? It was a gunner. Stunner.
Yes, it was.
You guys want to see that goal?
As long as the NHL gave us expressed written consent.
We don't need that.
Nice. Yeah, show us ass, Gardner.
We got press passes.
Here's your goal.
That's right.
Not that either. That's the Cardinal.
No.
Oh.
Able to take this one to the outside now is Gunnarsson. Led it on back, Barbashev across, drive, and that one whistled wide. Came back along to Gunnarsson once more. They've got Sundqvist set up at the opposite circle. Across to Gunnarsson, a shot, he scores!
Okay.
The Blues win it in overtime and have evened the series.
Unbelievable.
Carl Gunnarsson, who hit the post in the third period, this time gets the net. Patrick Maroon goes out to pick up the stray puck, kicking it along and saving it as a souvenir for Gunnarsson, who has staked his team to an even spot in the series, going back home to St. Louis.
Unbelievable.
How about
It's
that?
huge.
Best of 5 now, heading back to St. Louis. I have to say, boys, it feels like this is it. I think we're going to see Lord Stanley parade down Market. It feels like it is going to happen. The Blues needed to win that game last night, and they just came out with their hair on fire during the overtime. And they just absolutely dominated the first 4.5 minutes of overtime, just had their way with the Bruins. And that was not only one of the coolest moments in probably St. Louis sports history, but one of the most dramatic, certainly. It was a delayed penalty. So the Blues are going to be on the attack, and for them to be able to take advantage and get that extra man on the ice, that was a huge, huge win for the Blues and that organization. They needed that monkey off their back. They needed to know that they can hang with the Bruins, and they needed to remind the Bruins that they are a pretty damn good hockey team themselves. And that's what you heard from the Bruins players last night. They all were commenting on how tough this Blues team is, how they knew even when they went up 1-0 early in the first period that they were going to get the best shot from the Blues the rest of the way. And the Blues did just that, like they've shown all year. They're a resilient team. They fell behind twice. They weren't unfazed, and I don't think we're saying enough even about that Vladimir Tarasenko goal. That goal on a putback had to be one of the most difficult goals I've seen in any postseason setting. That was huge. And then, of course, I think also one cool thing about last night was watching the video feeds from Enterprise Center. Like, that place was jumping last night. That was insane. And I think that's probably one of the best ideas the Blues has ever had for these playoffs, is being able to open up the arena and invite fans to come in who probably won't be able to afford tickets to the Stanley Cup Final.
I think the final 5 minutes of the third period, it was hard to take a breath. Just because it wasn't just the Blues, it was the Bruins as well. And what both Tuukka Rask and Jordan Bennington did in goal, it really was breathtaking to watch those final 5 minutes, and just you were on edge the entire time. Then as I'm watching the beginning of that overtime, and just watching the Blues blanket the Bruins and forecheck and stay in that zone. And all I'm thinking is they better score here because this is a rather large effort they're putting out there. And I'm like, if you don't get something here, I don't know if it like hits you mentally for a second. Oh, we gave them all we got, or whatever it was. Just because they were doing so well, and you deserved at that point. You don't get what you deserve all the time, but you deserved to get a goal, and they did. And now the Blues in Stanley Cup final history are 1-13. How about that?
And I think you needed that win, obviously, to stay in the series, but mainly, I truly believe the attitude of the Bruins. I think they respected the Blues, but they weren't afraid of the Blues. I think last night the Blues made it very clear that they are going to be on that ass this entire series. Like they are not going to just let the Bruins push him around. Marchand, that's his thing. He was yapping back and forth with Patty Maroon, and that's to be expected. That's what that guy is. He's basically the Draymond Green of the NHL, and he gets the Bruins go. But he's one of those guys that if you let him, he'll get inside the psyche of your hockey team and just take you out of your game. And I was happy to see that the Blues were able to respond, and I think that was necessary to remind the Bruins that, hey, this isn't going to be a cakewalk. We're not Carolina. You're not going to sweep us. You're not going to walk through us. And now they know they have to go on a road in a hostile environment to play two very tough games against a very, very good Blues team.
And on that Gunnarsson goal, and you heard Doc there on the call on NBC Sports Network mention that Gunnarsson he was the one who hit the post within that final 5-minute portion of the third period, where it's just, I remember watching that one line up, and I kind of leaned forward on the couch, and Jess was like on her phone looking at recipes, and she I saw out of the corner of my eye that the fact that I moved brought her up, and then it hits the post, and I just sunk back into the couch, and it was like, what? And she goes, well, that was close. And I go, yeah, it was. Yeah, it hit the post. You heard it hit the post.
What kind of recipes was she looking at?
Something pasta-wise.
Rigatoni.
Maybe. She likes the rigatoni. But so Gunnarsson gets a little bit of a redemption there, gets another shot at it. And the Blues have been putting out these videos on their Twitter feed. I only see it on Twitter. Maybe it's on other social medias as well. But just of some post-game stuff that happens during the Stanley Cup Finals. And I was going to play a little bit of a portion from one they put out last night for you, gentlemen, just so you can hear this here.
Great job, boys. That's more of that team down tonight with our game. That was our game for 60 minutes plus, obviously. That's how we got to play. Great job. Day off tomorrow when we get there. We'll give you times for the next day to come in and practice. We'll get home, enjoy your families for the day. Got a quick story here. After the regulation, I'm in there taking a piss after when you guys were talking to you guys to go in there and take a leak. Gunny comes up, sitting beside me having a leak. All I need is one more chance. One more. All right, Gunny. Good to see you, Carl.
I love the way they say his name.
I know.
That is funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, I love that. That is funny. That's hilarious. I will say about this team, and again, I think a lot of people have said this, certainly around the St. Louis area. Something about this team just felt different. And going through what that team went through at the beginning of the year, you lose your head coach, you play just really miserable hockey to the point where, Army was thinking about completely just blowing up the entire team before the trade deadline. And now to see them, of course, on this run, this truly is a resilient bunch, but they're also a bunch of guys who look like they really do like playing for each other. And I know we have all the corny cliches about what it takes to win championships, but you really do need that. You need guys who have each other's backs, guys who truly like being around each other, who truly respect what they bring to the table. And Craig Berube has a lot to say with that because he's made it the point that there's just not one guy. So a guy like Vladimir Tarasenko, who's just played his mind, he's playing out his mind. I think he has 8 points in the last 8 straight games. it takes pressure off guys like that who you expect to be the front and center of this team when you have guys like Gunnarsson and guys like Dunn, who of course was hurt, but you have other guys on this team that have been able to step up in big moments for this team, and it takes that pressure off, and it's really cool to see a team actually like playing for each other, especially considering where this team was 6 months ago.
And it makes them likable too, especially for a fan base that has been waiting so long for a Stanley Cup. The first one, you would like the team to be a likable group, would you? I mean,
Yeah.
because you're going to be celebrated
so.
for quite a while, so you would like them to be likable, and that seems to be the case here. I mean, and you have certain elements involved that make that formula possible. Number one, you have a rookie goaltender that has come out of nowhere, and that Kurt Warner comparison has been made, so that's going to endear itself to St. Louis fans in general. Number two, you have a star. You mentioned Tarasenko, as Tommy says, Tarasenko.
Tarasenko.
Yeah.
Terrence Cinco.
So you have a scorer, one of the better scorers, one of the best scorers in the NHL on that team, and also you have a St. Louis native in Pat Maroon. So there's three elements right there that, as a fan, you can gravitate towards this team. And then there's also the story of where they were in early January and what they've elevated themselves to. So that's why there's I think, the feeling that's a little bit different, but also a feeling of, hey, if this is the group that does it, there are elements there that make this, this first team that could possibly do it, just that legacy is going to linger for a long, long time. And being a likable bunch is part of that, I think.
Certainly is. In other news, with the Blues and the NHL, they've announced that the great Gary Clark Jr. is going to play outside of the trade, and it's going to be a street show. I was
At
a little
the Prize now.
At the Prize, yeah, I get those mixed up. At the Enterprise Center, Gary Clark Jr., great artist, amazing blues guitarist, amazing just performer in general. I was thinking, oh, wow, I saw he was coming to the Fox later, but that's not for a while. So he's coming in on Monday with a viewing party to follow, but they're also having Kennedy Holmes from, is it The Voice or America's Got Talent that Kennedy Holmes was
The
on?
Voice.
Does anybody know? The Voice. So she's going to perform, and then they're also going to do, ahead of Game 3, the world's largest Gloria sing-along.
They're not doing that
They're
anymore.
not doing it
they
anymore.
Canceled it.
Why did they cancel it? I didn't
Because
see
they were
that
having
this morning.
blowback. They canceled it last night, like
Oh, I
hours
didn't see
after they
it.
announced it,
That's disappointing.
because they were having blowback. Fans were being a little superstitious, like we shouldn't be singing this before a game. It should only be done
I'm
after a
fine with
game.
that. I'm fine with
So-
that.
Yeah, but Kennedy Holmes,
makes
man,
sense.
that's a big opportunity for her.
You can do it after the game.
Okay, all right.
After we win the game, am I right?
That's
Yes.
right, Tommy. You're correct. I'm okay with that. I think that's fair. I think you can't start, mixing things up. If this has been the tradition all season long, look, I'm a Johnny-come-lately. I'm a bandwagoner. I still know the rules. And if the people who have been entrenched in the tradition all season long says no to the song being played before a game, then we should listen to the traditionalists in this particular case. So I'm game for that.
Now, Tommy, sports fan over here, Tommy Pebbles.
That's right.
Tommy
That's
P.
me,
You were-
Tommy Pebbles.
You were watching the game last night.
Yes, I did.
You were watching with who again?
My grandfather.
How did he react to the overtime
He
game
was
winner?
super happy. He was like, son of a gun, they actually did it. He was excited. He was very excited.
Now, how did you
That's
react?
pretty dope.
That's awesome.
That's what you did?
Excuse
Like,
me?
yeah, that's pretty cool. Awesome.
All right, so okay, so Tommy,
I was genuinely excited. But
Let's-
I was like, that's
Let's reenact this.
please.
All right.
the goal gets made.
Okay.
All right, you're my grandpa.
Oh, son of a gun! They
That's
did
awesome.
it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then that's it.
That's it?
We're not very emotional people, us Muslims.
That-
Mm.
Then what? Like, did you go get him a beer or something?
No,
or
he
what?
doesn't.
Did you
drink.
jump up? Did you wave a
We-
towel?
Well, we were eating Captain D's on the couch, and
He has a replace Travis.
Okay, first off,
You're
Tommy,
white Travis.
that's the
Yeah, man,
funniest thing you've said on this show since you started. If you don't write this into your stand-up routine, you are slacking. You will be a disappointment to me as a writer.
okay.
What?
Write
So-
that into your stand-up.
So we were.
Right
I'll write
now.
that down. Captain D's bit.
Eating
No.
Captain D's. That is hilarious.
What were you guys like? What did you guys
So
order?
just fish.
Was the lights
I
off?
got-
Were the lights
Yeah.
off? So y'all sitting in
We
the
only-
dark
We only had one
watching
lamp
NHL Stanley Cup Finals.
Right.
on.
Kind of
Quietly eating Captain D's.
grunting at
That's-
each other.
With the,
I hate to say it.
Hey, boy, you gonna finish that hush puppy?
I hate to say it, but that's kind of what it was. We had one lamp on. We were sitting in the living room. They were on a trip. They got back last night. I got back after my show last night, and he was watching the game. He had only been home like 20 minutes before me, so I was eating the leftovers, and he was eating some of his, and we were sitting there and watching it. And he makes the goal, and I was like, I saw some, and he's like, oh, they actually did it. And then we talked for like 20 minutes about how when they first started when they added the 6 teams, how the Blues went to the Stanley Cup 3 years in a row, and the last time they played the Bruins, they got completely swept.
Yeah.
And so that's why he was so excited about this one specifically, because this is the first time he's seen it not get swept.
Is Grandpa a big sports fan?
He is, yes.
Billy
Yeah.
Fat Pants wants to know if the reason Tommy's drinking a Gatorade is because he's now really into sports.
Oh, no, not at all. No, like my grandpa has a Cardinals bobblehead collection.
Okay.
With my dad. It's in the tax office.
Which relative did he steal that from?
Yeah. Is Grandma gonna try and sell that?
Yeah.
No, she's not.
that would be only fair. I mean,
Why?
think about it. That would be only fair.
All right.
So they got like
She's been plotting the whole time.
they got a baseball collection they have together.
Chris, you should start selling his shit on the side.
I form an alliance with Grandma. I'm like, hey, you see that Tony Pena bobblehead? up
You're
there?
not ever gonna meet my grandma, Chris.
Travis, I don't know, man.
I don't know,
Make it
man.
work.
But yeah,
'Cause,
no, we were just eating. And
I am good with the mamas and grandmamas.
Travis, stop it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you've been dancing with the devil the whole time. Now you got to deal with what the devil
I
brings.
can put the devil in check.
Hello, Tommy's grandmother.
Uh-oh.
How you doing, baby girl?
Oh no.
I hope everything is doing just fine. I heard you got some bobbleheads you're trying to sell.
She's
Holla
probably
at your
asleep.
boy. Or crdemon@gmail.com.
No, not that one. That's
son
not.
of a
We don't
bitch.
give that one out. Damn it.
Sorry.
So,
I've been able to hold
Sorry
on to
about
that
that.
since. Oh,
hey, what's Travis's email?
he doesn't have one to respond to it, so it doesn't matter.
Go message him on Facebook at Travis Terrell.
And-
Hard to find.
Yeah, that's not gonna get you a response either.
But
That
no, we were eating Captain D's and
Oh man.
watching the end of the game. And
Chris, he's eating Captain D.
Tommy, you got to eat Captain D's on Saturday now
why?
because it's good luck.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair.
Yep, we
I
got you.
have
Yep.
both games I actually watched. They won. So maybe I just need to watch the game.
While eating Captain D's.
Nah.
That's a request.
I'll eat
That is a
fish type
request.
things.
Fish type things.
Yeah, like shrimp.
Get it from Captain D's.
I'll get it from Fuzzy's Tacos.
Not a sponsor.
No, but it is right next to. Never mind. I can't plug my show, can I?
I don't care what you do. You just do whatever you want. I just sit here. We get through the 2 hours, and we call it a day. And I go work in the other room. That's my existence. So
Yeah,
there we have it.
Look how inspiring Chris is.
Yep, that's what we do.
So
here.
inspiring.
Yep.
You want a donut?
Speaking of, I would love a donut. Speaking of inspired, no, I'm not.
Thank
gonna
you,
eat a
Tommy.
donut.
Yeah,
Speaking
eat a
of
donut
inspiring,
first.
you know who inspires me? Entrepreneurs like
Who inspires you,
Pet
Chris?
Once St. Louis West. That's right. Your pet, they need fresh, local, delivered food. That's right. Pet Once St. Louis West. They're huge, huge Blues fans. So much so, if you type in the promo code PlayGloria at checkout, you will receive a discount. Check out PetOnceSt.LouisWest.com. I'm going to put the link in the comments of the video right now, the video stream. You can check out the website. You can say hello to Lynette. They'll deliver fresh, great food to your pets all around the St. Louis area. That's Pet Once St. Louis West, here for you and yours today. Travis, any other thoughts on upcoming games, celebration, anything you want to take a leak on for St. Louis enjoying itself?
Damn, man, I was happy for St. Louis winning last night. I'm happy for my city when good things happen. I've always supported the St. Louis region. I am a huge supporter of the place I was born and raised. I just want to see more from it. And I hope that this inspires people to spend more of their hard earned dollars in the St. Louis City region.
We don't have to get into it too much, but I will say along traditions, the great Jeff Jones, at JM Jones on Twitter, wrote a column yesterday for St. Louis Game Time. I guess just voicing his opinion on Barstool Sports teaming up with the Boston Bruins for a promotional towel giveaway. Jeff gave his opinion, cited some things, but it turned into a national trending story. So I will suggest to Jeff, he picks a fight with Barstool every game day that the Blues have going on. Jeff ended up on a Barstool radio show. Whether you agree with the content, whatever you went after or anything, I just think if we're just looking at this as a whole, Travis, would you agree that Jeff is now has to pick a fight with the Boston media entity every game day? Has to. It's tradition.
I think if one thing, Jeff Jones is consistent, and I think he's been consistent when it's come to Barstool in general as far as what they represent, some of the content they push out, and their very documented history of having issues with female employees. I think if we know the Jeff Jones that we know, he's been very consistent on calling out everyone, especially at Barstool, and for a NHL team like the Bruins to team up with Barstool. I think he asked fair questions. He asked certain questions. Why would the Boston Bruins decide to team up with an entity like Barstool that does have a long documented history of abuse towards female employees? And I think if the Bruins are going to align themselves with somebody like Barstool, the least they can do is answer that question. So credit to Jeff Jones for calling it out, because as soon as something happens, and we've seen it on the other end, Chris, if St. Louis, if the Cardinals or even the Blues were to team up with a group that liberals would consider problematic, or any group would consider problematic, St. Louis would get dunked on by every major media outlet in the country about St. Louis Blues or the Cardinals alliance to a problematic organization. So why should Boston, the Bruins, get a pass when it comes to Barstool? So I think he asked fair questions.
Oh, and I support Jeff doing what he's going to do, whether it's it's something I would choose to do or not. But I will say the Blues have a sandwich named after a Barstool employee's pet, and then the Barstool show is doing a live show at Ballpark Village, and then I think the Blues have something else going on too. So I think it's kind of the NHL as a whole. Like, it makes sense as they're some sort of entity that makes sense. So
absolutely. And if the Ballpark Village in St. Louis wants to team up, I think those are the same type of questions I expect them to answer as well. Look, you can't pick and choose when you want people to abide by the standard. And if we're saying that we care about female employees, we care about female listenership and the female consumers, then you have to answer the question as to why you would team up with an entity like Barstool, which has a documented history of treating women like shit and literally going out of their way to be antagonistic towards women on social media. So I think these are fair questions to ask these entities, and I hope Ballpark Village gets the same amount of questions. I'm happy that everyone's having a good time, and I think that's great, and I'm happy that everyone's celebrating. But it is a real question: why is the NHL, why is Ballpark Village, why are the Boston Bruins teaming up with Barstool when they have a history of abuse towards female reporters and females who want to have worked with Barstool?
I genuinely don't like. I used to, whenever Gaines would kind of, because he's a fan, right? Gaines is a fan of Barstool, our old producer. And
I think he's a fan of PFT commenter, not necessarily the Barstool brand.
Yeah, and Gaines is obviously a friend, and Jeff's a friend also. But I think I'm on Gardner's team with this. I truly don't know these incidents that you're talking about.
I'm kind of ignorant is the problem, Travis.
I've never been.
And the only reason being is, and I don't know why, but Barstool's content is not something that I've ever gravitated towards or ever sought out or ever. I don't go there. So it's just not like, if Barstool went away, it would not impact me in any way. Like, it would not impact, like, if I lost the Ringer, that would be an issue for me. Like, I love the Ringer.
Right.
Barstool is not that for me. And I'm not trying to say. I just don't know.
That's on my thing too. I'm not
my
doing
thing,
I'm
I
not
guess.
doing the Travis, where's your evidence? Blah, blah. I'm not doing
Yeah.
that. I truly don't know
Now,
the issues.
yeah.
I've seen the headlines in that, but like Barstool's content is so not for me or not something that I look for that
Right.
I don't even bother to read the stories.
The-
The one story I've read on them that I can see that there's documented evidence had nothing to do with women or anything like that, but it's more along the lines of
Thievery.
content stealing.
Content
Yeah.
theft is a huge
And it was so obvious that they deleted.
Yes.
And I think I'm paraphrasing, or not paraphrasing, but ballparking here, like 70,000 tweets or something like that. Like they had to completely clean some stuff.
My only thing was what was it that the 30 seconds or so I clicked just because I was like, what the hell? Jeff's all over national Twitter. It was just something like, what's going on? I clicked it, and again, I'm all for doing your own thing, but it was this weird thing that just wouldn't turn me on. It was it was just really obnoxious. Just kind of what, and again
Well, it's
too.
like-
Portnoy's an ass.
Tommy
Portnoy's an
Boy's
ass. I've said
obnoxious.
that.
That's a great movie, but but his brand is
Portnoy's
being
an
an
ass.
ass,
He-
right?
Right, and that's the thing. That's one of my biggest problems with the entity is not necessarily how they go about uncovering content. Is that when you guys are called out on the content that you distribute, you turn into uber privileged, elitist, Bostonian frat boys. And so that's what Portnoy was doing last night. So instead of talking about the content, instead of talking about the history of Barstool, instead of talking about their apparent relationship with the NHL and the Boston Bruins, he decided to attack Jeff personally and talk about a personal situation with Jeff. That's, to me, that just shows me who you are as a person, that when you are getting called out, the thing that you do is go and try to hurt that person by digging up something incredibly personal that they endured when they were going through whatever they were going through in their lives. So instead of, being the CEO and saying, look, we have had stories in the past where we're not proud of, we're doing our best to change the culture here. The thing that Portnoy does is, well, what about the bank robbery? I think if that's the way you're going to react when you are called out on your content and strictly your content, that lets me know the kind of person that you are. And if you're that kind of person, then I absolutely believe that's the culture that you promote at your company.
And and let's say this too. I think we'd be remiss not to listen to that segment where Jeff was on there too. I just saw a summary. Again, we're operating from a pretty ignorant standpoint to the entire thing, but when you have all these stories out there, all those things, you can kind of get a smell of at least how things went or something, right? Like I haven't heard the segment. I actually do want to kind of listen to it to see what it was.
Yeah, and
I think I'll listen to it
I know
later,
Jeff
yeah.
was on a WEEI this morning too.
Oh boy, is that a Boston 101 equivalent?
Yeah, there's
Oh,
there's
those
two
are the
big
guys
stations,
the WEEI guys are. They're a story within themselves. So I hope Jeff
smart.
was able to.
Yeah.
I think what happens, and we've said this before on this show, is that with the success of the New England teams, the radio and media personalities take on the same confidence and ego of those teams. So the Patriots are winning, the Red Sox are winning, the Bruins are winning. And so those guys feel like they're winning. So they think they're in the locker room and they think they're responsible for all of New England's success. And because they're on top of the sports world, they behave like it. And those personalities are just so toxic and it's so unoriginal. It's very Howard Stern, mid-'80s esque.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I think the thing that bothers me about those entities, a lot of these sports talk podcasts and things like Barstool, is that not only is it not original, but it's the frat bruh approach to sports.
That's how I've always
It's
felt
like
about Barstool.
And
it's
they
just a
work with
very
legitimate people, by the way,
fratty
too.
nerd.
That's where things get confusing.
Well,
they will have legit folks.
Like I said, I think I think that's because I think guys like PFT Commenter, those guys who have been on the record kind of distancing themselves from Barstool.
Yeah.
Because of that, I think they also recognize that they have an audience that's very, like I
Chris
said,
Long
let's
does
bring
stuff
in
there.
natty lights. Right, Chris Long does things, but he does, like I said, a lot of stuff with PFT Commenter. He doesn't necessarily do a ton directly with Barstool, so that's kind of a finicky. Same goes, I think, with Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee Yeah, he's more
all
to
these
the
guys
Barstool
are
camp, but
1
he
million
also
percent. But you could have a different perception. But those guys, I don't even know Barstool, and I know they are Barstool.
And you mentioned, Travis, you
Pat
mentioned it
McAfee's
too.
Barstool,
And
definitely.
it kind of ties into another conversation we were having, but you mentioned the Boston sports fan and the identity of the radio personalities now, how that is in terms of sports radio and that. Well, let's talk. We were talking about St. Louis identity. It's our fair or foul today. And that's something that's always I've wondered is like, how does it get to a point to where your identity is so wrapped up in that the winning and losing of a franchise tells you whether or not you're a successful city or not? I mean, when you sit back and unpeel that and think about it,
it's easy branding.
Yeah, it's branding. But then you're like, how fucking dumb are we?
Right.
How
and
is
I
that,
think that's why.
like
And I completely agree, Gardner. You've taken the argument straight from my brain. I'm the same way, and I kind of think was the emphasis of my argument is that I'm so happy that we can have an organization like the St. Louis Cardinals in St. Louis, and it's great that we have something that we as a city can galvanize around. I think, though, the reason why I would want St. Louis to be very cautious about that embrace is what we saw, of course, 4 years ago with the Rams. So when you begin to wrap your identity and then ultimately your economy around something so fickle, you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Like,
and I want people to start to pull back some of those reins when it comes to attaching the city's identity and happiness to the success of sporting franchises.
Well,
We really have to be careful there.
It's like, oh, the Cardinals won the World Series in 2011. Oh, we're the best. Yeah, look at us here, right here in St. Louis. City budget's fixed.
Right.
Oh, really? No,
Well,
no.
That's why.
No.
Exactly.
Like, there's nothing else to do now. We got to wait for baseball. We just sit here in the winter.
Exactly.
No, go out and do something. You can. It's just.
Exactly.
I don't Chris is exactly right. It's branding. The Cardinals have done it well since the DeWitts took over the organization.
Definitely.
Because I mentioned yesterday
backed by
what
100 years of success.
Yeah, but attendance. It
can ebb and flow.
Will definitely be fit. I mean, look.
Especially in the '90s for the Cardinals.
Early '90s,
Absolutely.
all of the '70s, all of the '70s. I mean, and we assume success breeds attendance. The Rays are a game out of first place 2 days ago. Their announced attendance at a game was 5,600 something. That's the Tampa Bay. So that's not necessarily true either. There'll be exceptions to rules, and maybe the Tampa Bay Rays are that. They're not doing so much branding, maybe. But I just felt like, yeah, you'll get emotional with a team in that, but to completely wrap yourself in whether or not you're a success or failure as a city or as a person, like, don't walk there. I'm just telling you not to do that. It's not worth it.
To your point, I'll never forget being in South Florida, Miami, like South Beach, and a buddy, Big Mike, and I walk in and we're talking to some cool guy bartender or something, wherever we're at the Clevelander, the famous place, right? And he's like, so where are you guys in from? We're two idiot 21-year-olds, and we're just like, St. Louis, instead of saying Columbia, Missouri. And he's like, oh, it's up by Detroit? And we're like, no, it's quite a ways from there. He's like, well, what is it? And we're like, oh, it's a baseball town. The guy goes, oh, there you go. And moves on about his day. That's my point to, I guess, Travis. It kind of backs up and argues your point. Most of the population does not care about sports. Like, when are we talking sheer numbers, the percentages do not work out in sports' favor. There are other things happening.
It's also dangerous us to get just opinions too on social media.
Oh, and it's so easy to do
just
that
because of what the numbers are there too. I mean, it's
still a very small percentage.
Yeah, we have to,
of the population.
and I'll make the mistake too, and do that from time to time. But you just have to keep that in the back of your mind when you're formulating at least credible thoughts. I think.
Gardner, do you need a menthol break?
Yes.
Okay, look at it. He goes, this bastard's going to try and push through and just do the 2 hours. I'll kill myself if this happens. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. we got to thank all of you for tuning in. Come tonight. This is a big show. Our friend TK Kelly headlining it. He writes for Tosh.0. He's coming in, going to have a blast. And we gave you a killer lineup to open it. Why is this a stare away, Travis? Why is he doing it? Is he frozen now?
No.
Oh, nope, he's there.
He was looking at the other person in the background.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm thinking. Come out. It's free comedy Thursday at Southtown Pub. Enjoy that with us. It's going to be a blast. And we'll take a quick break here in Midcoast Studio. Check out midcoast.media for more information.